There is a saying that if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. So, if you want things to be different, do something different. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So, we're going to do things very, very differently with the way of eating that we've introduced to you. And we are going to get different results to those that you got before. So we're going to work on creating a vision for the future and getting clear on what you want and also what you don't want. You might want to print the handout out. The link is below the video, or just have a pad of paper and a pen handy. The people who are in the habit of setting goals are much more likely to succeed. You may have heard of Andrew Carnegie, who's an American businessman and philanthropist, and he tested out this theory with his employees. And the goal setters were in the top 10% of earners. Now, if you don't know what you want and where you're going, then you're just drifting through life. And it may be that by luck you'll be happy with what you've got, but it's more likely that you will feel dissatisfied. So this week we're going to help you to get that clear vision. What do you want from the program? What do you want from life? What are your goals, i.e. the results that you want, and how are you going to know when you've achieved them? So when you know where you're going, you can create your own map to get you there. When you have a clear intention about what you wish to experience in your life, a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, the RAS, begins to filter all the sensory information, that's everything that you see, that you hear around you, and draw to your conscious attention the things that will help you to attain your goal. And you've probably experienced the RAS in your life and not realized it. But if you've ever, say for instance, decided to buy a car and you've decided on the make, the model, the color, suddenly you begin to see lots of that particular model. And that's your RAS at work, just saying, yep, there's one, there's one, there's one. And it's working to try and help you to get what you want. But it will also help you to identify behaviors or habits that don't actually fit with the goals that you have in mind. Now, we have twin driving forces of pleasure and pain. And as human beings, we're usually more motivated to take action, to change things when it just becomes too painful to continue as we are. And perhaps you can relate to that. Maybe you've started on this program because you felt you really couldn't carry on as you were. Are you unhappy with your weight, your health? And this will be what's driven you to take action. And we're inspired to achieve the experience of pleasure. So that's the experience of maybe losing weight, being slimmer, being healthier. So at any one time, we're somewhere along a continuum between pain and pleasure. So pain or the prospect of pain will motivate us to take action, and we'll often make radical changes in our lives because we want to move quickly away from the pain that we're experiencing. And we'll take action because it's just become too painful to continue as we are. We reach the threshold point and that motivates us. But that's fine, but what can happen is that we move into what I call the complacency zone. And that's where things, they're not ideal, but they're better than they were, and they're tolerable. And that's a dangerous place to be. It often happens that we get complacent and we slip back into old habits, and before we know it, we're right back where we started. So to avoid getting stuck in the complacency zone or slipping back, we need something that will inspire us to keep on with the changes that we've made, to build on them so that we achieve the very best experience of life that we can. Step 1 is to find your pain motivator. What is driving you now to make changes? Are you feeling overweight or tired, unhealthy? Are you worried about the future if you don't take action now? What will happen if you don't make changes and improve your health? What's the worst possible outcome? What don't you want to experience that you believe will happen if you don't make changes? How will you look in a year's time? How will you feel about yourself? I want you to create some really compelling reasons for you to improve your diet and your health. And pause this presentation now and write them down. So step 2, we want to think about what you want to achieve by this time next year. And this is your inspiration. Think about how you want to be in a year's time and phrase your goals in a clear, positive and specific way. So, for instance, I don't want you to say, I don't want to feel old and fat. I'd far rather that you wrote down, I want to feel full of energy. I'll be fit and active. I've lost all the weight I need to lose. Now, it's okay to make those goals challenging, but make sure they're achievable. And you may not be a world-class athlete, but you can achieve weight loss and a toned body. So pause the video now, write down what you want to achieve within the next year, and then come back when you're ready. So having written down what you want to achieve, it's time to think about what that's actually going to give you. So if you've said that you want to lose weight and be fit and active, then what are the benefits that that's going to bring you? Write down all the benefits that you will experience when you get the results that you want. Maybe you'll have more energy to go out and have fun with your kids, your grandchildren. Maybe you're going to go on that walking holiday that you always wanted to do. Go and walk in the Andes or visit Peru. Think about why you want to lose this weight, why you want to be fit and healthy. Again, pause the video, write this down. So are there any negative consequences attached to you achieving your goal? And how are you going to manage those? It might seem a bit odd to think that there could be negative consequences to achieving a goal. But when you make big changes, it can challenge the people around you. Their perceptions of you might change, and they might even sabotage your efforts to lose weight. Now, it might be that your partner's got no interest in exercising, staying fit. Maybe they see getting old and fat as inevitable. So is that going to cause conflict? If it is, what will you do? Can you negotiate with them? Can you maybe enroll them on the diet, or tell them why you're doing it and what all the benefits are going to be when you've achieved your goals, so that they get on board with it? I really hope that you're pausing the video as we go along and taking time to think about what I've been talking about and making your own notes. If you make this just a mental process, it's nowhere near as effective. So we want to think now about what the first step is toward achieving your goal. So you need to identify the very first step that's needed, and then you can start to build momentum towards achieving your goals. And it's important that you do something right now, no matter how small it is. If you set a goal and then you put away your manual without taking some form of action, then the chances are that you won't do anything tomorrow or the next day or the one after. So I know that you've already started to take steps with the diet, and maybe you've not been doing the menu planning, or maybe you've not been doing the diet diary. So make that the first step, or think of something else that you can do that's really going to help to take you toward achieving your goals. And is there anything that you can do or that you need to do on a daily basis that's going to remind you to stay focused on your goals? It's so important that you stay on track and that you don't allow yourself to get sidetracked or sabotaged. So on a daily basis, you might exercise. It doesn't have to be going to the gym. You might go for a walk each day, or take time to just sit down and plan your meals for the next day. Maybe try on the trousers that you're aiming to get into. but remind yourself every single day what you're doing and why you're doing it. So now you've got your long-term goal, you know where you want to be in a year's time, you know what that's going to give you, why you're doing it, and how you're going to deal with anything that might get in the way, and even the very first step that you're going to take towards achieving your goal. And it's really useful to set mini goals every single day. Give yourself something that you're going to do. So it's very easy if you don't set goals to kind of put things off and think, well, you know, if it doesn't happen today, there's always tomorrow, there's always the next day. And it's really easy to find that a week can go by and, you know, just somehow you haven't achieved what you thought you were going to do. So setting little goals for each day will keep you focused. It doesn't have to be a massive goal. It can be as simple as, today I'm going to check out the times of classes at the gym and book myself in. But do make a habit of doing something every single day that moves you nearer to achieving those bigger life goals that you've written down. And at the end of the day, check in with yourself. Did you actually achieve your daily goal? If you didn't, then what got in the way? Why didn't it happen? What can you learn from that? Did you set a goal that was actually just really never ever going to happen? Do you need to make it more realistic? What can you do differently tomorrow? And the next day, please set yourself another little mini goal. It's really important that you eliminate procrastination to make sure that you don't get stuck in the complacency zone, because if you do, you're just never going to achieve what you want. And sometimes we know what we could do to improve our health and lose weight, but we procrastinate, we put things off. And this means that you don't achieve all that you want to achieve. So you need to stop waiting for the ideal conditions to occur before you get on with what you know you should be doing. And sometimes we think, well, you know, it's not the right time, I'm busy, there's other things going on, it's not the perfect timing. But it never is the perfect time. You're living in the now, in the present moment, and that is when you've got to get on and do things. Because aiming for perfection is unrealistic, it's impractical, and it's completely debilitating. People who say, you know, things must be perfect, they just never get achieved what they could do if they quite simply got on with it. So instead, you've got to aim for constant improvement and consciously and methodically working towards positive changes. So that means just being more proactive. Just do things. You know, get out the theory and into the practical. And that might mean, you know, get out of the idea of, yes, I need to monitor my carbs, I need to measure. Just go do it and make sure it happens consistently. And do at least one thing every single day that will get you closer to where you want to be. Ask yourself the right kind of questions. So if you say to yourself, well, how can I? So how can I fit in an exercise class? Your brain's going to get busy and it will come up with an answer. Or you might just say, how can I get more exercise during the day? And your brain will say, well, how about instead of sitting in the lunchroom at lunchtime, go out for a walk and go and eat your lunch in the park. So by asking yourself, how can I questions, it gives your brain something useful to do and to come up with helpful answers. Create a goal for the day and totally commit to it. Don't give yourself an escape clause. No excuses accepted. So make sure that goal's realistic, it's achievable, and it's something that you know is going to help you get what you want. And don't rationalize or justify or explain what you're not doing in order to make it acceptable. You know, don't say, well, you know, I couldn't get to the gym because I finished work late,